everybody. It's me, Colton Johnson, with MT Popcorn Bucket Productions, and today we are seeing Transformers 1. Just a quick thought, I love Transformers. It's definitely one of my guilty pleasure franchises, and I've heard a lot of great things, and so I'm excited to check this one out. So I'll see you after to share with you my thoughts. So I haven't seen too many animated films this year. I saw Inside Out 2, and that's the only one I can put my finger on. And I honestly think this was better. It had the director actually who did Toy Story 4. I can't think of his name. I'll mention it in my full review. But this film was incredible. It was amazing. As a Transformer fan, this was everything and more you could get from a Transformers movie. And it started out a little slow, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But man, once this movie picks up, holy Hana. I love Transformers, and I want more. That's all I want is more Transformers. And for those who have known me for at least 10 years, or was in my 8th grade history class, you would know it's just like Transformers. All right, now that we're back from the movie theaters and I was able to let my thoughts flesh out a little bit, let's talk about Transformers 1. This movie was directed by Josh Cooley, who was also known for directing Toy Story 4. And you can say that he is pretty good at making a movie about a toy line. I mean, Toy Story is about toys, and this movie is based on toys. And I would say it was a pretty strong film. It made me feel like a kid again. And there was a lot of iconic moments that just got me so hyped while I was sitting there in the theater. I saw this at a late showing at IMAX, and the theater was pretty empty, which I like a big theater, but for a movie that is more so geared to kids, I'm fine with seeing it with a smaller audience. So this movie takes you on an extraordinary journey where you follow Orion Pax and D16, later to be known as Optimus Prime and Megatron, and you see their struggles as miners in Cybertron. They don't have the ability to transform, but over the course of the film, you get to see how much dynamic they have. Their dynamic kind of reminded me of Anakin and Obi-Wan. Or I saw a review that mentioned the fact that this reminded them of The Prince of Egypt, which is also one of my favorite films. And I can really see where they're coming from with that. There's such a dynamic when it comes to motivations and paths that you can take. And this film really sets in stone the future of Transformers. This film is an origin story, like many origin stories. They're not the same characters that you know them in an iconic form. But over the course of this film, you can see that this film shapes these characters into what we know them as. I absolutely adored this film. It had so many iconic moments, so many moments where I actually felt touched. Like my heart was like, dang, that got me. And so many just awesome character moments. I loved B, also known as Bumblebee, the character. He was very funny, and not like funny as in like very hilarious, but he was played by Michael Key of Key and Peele, and I think that's his name. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he did awesome in this film, and it's sort of funny because in the newer Transformer movies, B doesn't have a voice, and you can see that B is very, very talkative. I actually felt like there was a lot of layered characters in this film, and one of my favorites was what's his name? D16. I thought his dynamic and his struggles were very strong. And I also thought that Ryan Pax was also very strong. And I was a little hesitant when they announced that Chris Hemsworth would be voicing him, but I thought it was a very strong role and definitely lived up to the legacy of what Optimus Prime is. Scarlett Johansson's character also does very well, and it was cool to see that Scarlett Johansson and Chris Hemsworth were able to collaborate again on a film. So there was a few things that I wouldn't say I necessarily hated at all, but I felt like the pacing in the first 20, 30 minutes was a little off. But once it started getting into the story and seeing what these characters' motivations were, it got really good. Especially when they go onto the surface, that's really when the film gets its footing. So, another thing that I really liked about this film was there was no human characters. And it didn't need any human characters because it took place in Cybertron. But it was fun to see a Transformers movie where you just focus on the Transformers and not the humans. I'm not saying those elements in the Michael Bay movies are bad, but I'm just saying that if I want to go see a Transformers movie, I'm seeing it for the Transformers. And Transformers has a history of having hit or miss movies. I like the first installment of the Michael Bay franchise, and I honestly like the one that released last year. But there's a lot of duds when it comes to the Transformers movies, but I still love them because I feel like it was a staple of my childhood, and this was able to correct all those wrongs those other movies had and give us a true Transformers movie. One more thing I do want to mention, Transformers kind of became a meme in my life. When I was in the 8th grade, I made a subtle joke. Well, I wouldn't say it's subtle. I literally stood up and made a joke. And I won't repeat the joke here. For context of those who know the joke, you'll know. But I end up saying something along the lines of, it's just like Transformers. But what was crazy is there's elements in this movie that reminded me of that and kind of put into stone why I said what I said. So if you're watching this video and you were in my 8th grade history class and remember me saying those words based on a specific historical topic that we learned in 8th grade, go see this movie and then understand why I said what I said. Because now it makes sense. It all makes sense. And it made sense in my head. So thank you so much for watching this review. Sorry it was a little bit all over the place. I very much enjoyed this film. I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. And other contexts, 9 out of 10. I am planning on going to see The Wild Robot, which will probably release a week from today. And yeah. Oh, I also have my other YouTube channel, Colton's E-Ticket Adventures. And I am uploading a podcast. Well, technically it's already uploaded. I just haven't really talked much about it. But it's me and my younger brother who put it together. It was kind of a last minute thing. So go check that out on my other channel. Leave the link in the description below. Like, subscribe, share, and have a wonderful day. Bye.